Welcome back to Gambling with Gold. My name is Jason Gold. As always, I am joined by my buddy from the Action Network, Dan Titus. Today, we're going to talk about playoff and Super Bowl predictions. Before we get to that, I want to tell you a little bit about Champions Round, who I work for, who's sponsoring this podcast, the whole reason that we're here. We have 3 contests that are going on that you can enter before Thursday, before the kickoff of the Cowboys Bucks. We have Boost Ball, Captain, and 7 Stakes. So go to Champions Round right now, download the app, and use the code BOOST, and you can enter any of those contests for free. They're awesome. They're a ton of fun. Play with your friends. It'll be great. We're also giving away a Devontae Adams and a Christian McCaffrey signed jersey that we will announce the winners of on Instagram Live on Thursday, right before kickoff. In order to be eligible to win those, please subscribe to this podcast and download the app and follow on Instagram for more details. Let's jump into it, Dan. We got through all the business stuff. Let's talk about the party stuff. We got playoff and Super Bowl predictions now. So we have 48 hours until the NFL kicks off, a little bit less right now. 7 playoff spots, just like last year, something that I was still trying to get used to, but I actually ended up liking a lot last year. 1 bye. We're going to do AFC, NFC. Let's start in the NFC. Why don't you run through your 7 playoff teams?
7 playoff teams in the NFC. So starting out first, I got to do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that they're going to end up being the representative in the Super Bowl. Number 2, I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. I think that they have a really good chance to repeat their success in a pretty shitty NFC North division. Number 3, I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. I think they're going to pull out 10.5 wins. I think that that's their win total sitting at right now. I think that they'll exceed that, assuming that they can get good play out of Jimmy Garoppolo. They have a pretty soft schedule, so I think that there's a very good chance that they're going to make the playoffs. Sticking in the division, I think the Seattle Seahawks are also going to have a pretty successful season. Russell Wilson's definitely going to be the dude. They have a new offensive coordinator there. I think they finally let Russ cook, and it's going to lead to them having some success. Their defense is still mediocre, but somehow, some way, Russ always seems to win in the end. And then fourth, I like the LA Rams. I think that they're also going to have a really successful season with Matt Stafford there. Sure, they did lose a little bit of depth in the running back room, but I think Darrell Henderson will be comparable enough to handle the load. I think that the defense obviously speaks for itself with perennial All-Pro and Defensive Player of the Year candidate Aaron Donald. So they're going to be really solid. The next one, obviously by division, I don't have very high expectations for the NFC East, but I think that the Washington football team will come out of that division superior. Their defense is the best. Chase Young is a beast. And I think, even if Ryan Fitzpatrick doesn't work out as the long-term quarterback there, I think that they still have enough talent around them to muster up enough wins to take that division. And then lastly, I'm going to go with this one was really hard for me. It's like the Vikings, or I was going with the Saints. And I think I'm going to lean to the Vikings here. I think it's really risky because of their unvaccinated situation in their quarterback room. Maybe they'll figure out Kirk Cousins on how to get the plexiglass in all of the different rooms that they need for their meetings and practice and whatnot. But I think that there's just so much offensive talent on that team. And I think that their defense obviously got a lot healthier. Like, they went through a lot of injuries last season, very similar to the San Francisco 49ers. They're coming back healthy. Mike Zimmer's a very good coach. I think this team will muster up several different wins.
All right. We are pretty close at the top here, which I'm not surprised by in the NFC. Actually, maybe the AFC too. It's pretty clear-cut who the top couple teams is here. So my number 1 seed, I have Tampa Bay going 13-4. No shocker there. It's the best roster in the NFL. Really deep too. Only got deeper. Brought back everybody. Brady actually had an offseason with these guys. I think as long as they stay healthy, I think everything's going to be fine. Number 2, Green Bay. I have them at 12-5. I've talked about how I like the over on their win total. I think they're going to run away with this division. I don't think that division's that tough. We talked on the last episode 9, about how maybe Aaron Rodgers on the under on passing yards, which I tend to agree with, but I also think this defense is going to be a little bit better than we think. I think the rushing game is going to be good, and I don't think that anyone's going to sniff them in the division. So 12-5 for them. My number 3, and we talked about this on the NFC East episode of Gambling with Gold, Washington. I'm really, really high on Washington. I love their defense. So I have them as the 3 seed. I have them going 11-6. I think they're going to clean up in that division, probably go 5-1. Only have to go 500 on the way out to finish at 11-6. So I think they're going to be awesome. And I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up as the number 1 defense in the league by the time the season's over. Number 4, and I have a string of NFC West teams coming in. No shocker here. I have the Rams winning the division at 11-6. I love Stafford. I think that McVay is really angry at Jared Goff for thinking that there's a cap on this offense, and he's going to show out with Matthew Stafford. I actually really like the Stafford over passing props. I love there was one for him to have the most passing yards in the NFL this season. I love that one. I think he's going to throw for over 5,000 yards this season, to be honest with you. So maybe some Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp stuff in there. So 11-6 for them. San Francisco 10-7. They're really talented. They're a little thin. I don't know what the quarterback situation is quite going to look like for the entire season, but they're ridiculously well coached. And if one of the 2 quarterbacks is healthy, Kyle Shanahan is going to win games. So 10-7 for them. Seattle 6 seed. I also have them at 10-7. I just don't see any team led by Russell Wilson finishing with less than. They're not going to go 500 or worse. So you're either at 9 wins or 10 wins. I'll give them 10 wins. I think there's a chance that they could win this division. The defense is a little suspect, but Russ is still Russ. He's going to cook a little bit. They're going to make the playoffs. No, number 7 was really hard, and just like you, but I didn't have any of the teams that you had. I ended up with Dallas. And the reason for Dallas is the division's terrible.
Gross.
I think that they could also end up 5-1 in the division.
Yeah.
They split with Washington. And then all they have to do from that, if they go 5-1 in the division, all they have to do is go 4-7 on the way out versus the rest of the NFL to finish at 9-8 and maybe sneak into the playoffs. That offense, if everything's clicking, is really good. And at the end of the day, they can win enough shootouts against mediocre or crappy teams in the NFL to get to 9 wins. That would not shock me at all. Now, I hate their coaching staff, and I hate their defense even more, although Parsons looks like he's going to be an absolute monster. So maybe that's something good for them. So this is tough. I mean, I could see them going 6-11 also. Like, there's a way that this breaks completely bad for them, but I'm so high on CeeDee Lamb that I can't possibly take them to be any worse than 9-8. It's like required by my own law at this point to be all in on the Cowboys. And by all in, I mean all you have to do is go 9-8, Mike McCarthy. That's all you need. 9-8. That's all we need. So
it's a lot of faith in Mike. A lot of faith in Mike at this stage.
Those are my picks for the NFC. Let's move over to the AFC, and then we'll get to our Super Bowl picks.
Yeah, I think first off, I think that the Chiefs are going to repeat as the contenders, but I think it's going to be a different scenario once it comes to playoff time. So I'll save those hot takes for later in the season as it progresses. But they're the number 1 seed. I think they're going to be the best team in football. Then number 2, coming in very close, I got the Buffalo Bills. I think that they're going to have another great season with Josh Allen finally getting paid. Stephon Diggs, one of the best wide receivers in the game. I think they'll figure out their run offense a little bit more, and their defense is solid. Sean McDermott is a very good head coach, so I think that they're going to repeat as the divisional winners in the AFC East. Then coming up next, I got the Cleveland Browns. I think the Cleveland Browns are going to shock the world here. And they were really good last season, obviously exceeded expectations, but I think you saw what Kevin Stefanski's offense and defense can really do when they're all firing on all cylinders and Baker Mayfield isn't just turn over the ball all the time. So, I think that they're going to have a really good team with their running game leading the way with a really good defense to back them. Obviously, the Ravens, I think that they're going to still be a really good team. We know their track record in the preseason. Right now they're winning the war of attrition, right? They're losing the war of attrition, but they keep on backing up more and more players. I don't know if Le'Veon Bell is that sexy, but he's depth, right? And I think Gus has already proven that he can be a capable back in this league, led by an MVP-like candidate in Lamar Jackson. This squad's going to be straight. Their defense is always pretty stellar. They're in a tough division, but I think that they'll end up coming out as one of the playoff hopefuls. Also, the Denver Broncos, they're my dark horse to come out. I didn't have these ranked, obviously, but I think that the Denver Broncos are going to also make their way into the playoffs, anchored by their good defense and the steady, heady play of Teddy Bridgewater, who doesn't make mistakes. They have Javonte Williams to take over that lead back role from Melvin Gordon, who I hate in fantasy terms. Just can't stand him in general. The dude is washed. So I'm really excited for what Javonte Williams and what Jerry Jeudy can do. This division, AFC South, is by far the worst division in football. By default, I got to give the Tennessee Titans the nod here. I don't see Jacksonville really having a chance. Houston Texans are complete garbage, and Indianapolis is a hot mess with Carson Wentz, who can't stay upright. He's unvaccinated, getting COVID. I want no parts of anything in Indianapolis, so I think the Titans will sneak in there. And then finally, my other dark horse is the New England Patriots. Call me convinced, man. I think Mac Jones is definitely a solid-looking quarterback right now. And the better thing about Bill Belichick is that he's finally got his defense back. Tons of players were opting out last season. I think that's really going to be the anchor of their team. I'm not a believer in the Miami Dolphins taking that big leap in Tua in year 2. I think there's going to be a lot of work to be had there. So I think that the Pats can sneak in there in that 7 seed and potentially have a shot at getting into these playoffs.
All right. We are very close again at the top, and then it goes a little haywire at the bottom. So I have Buffalo at number 1. I have them at 12-5, tied with Kansas City 12-5. But I think that they'll win the tiebreaker. I actually think that they win that game this season. So both 12-5 there. Cleveland, I also had 3rd seed. I think they're going to win the North. I think they're going to win over Baltimore. My 4 seed, I had Tennessee. I just think that they win in that division. That's not great. I have way too many concerns about Indianapolis all over. It seems like everything is broken the wrong way for them thus far. So, I just can't buy in on that. Tennessee's defense is terrible, but the offense should be awesome. I mean, they have the combo of AJ, Julio, and Derrick Henry is like almost unimaginably good. It's so nasty. Yeah, so that should be enough for them to win the division here, even if the defense is as bad as I think it might be.
Agreed.
Baltimore I have as the 5th seed. I have a lot of concerns about them also, like their COVID concerns with Lamar. I'm almost convinced that this season is going to have to miss 2 games, not because he's going to get COVID, but because he's going to be near someone that's just going to take him out for 10 days. Like,
contact tracing is going to be real.
Mm-hmm. Inevitably, he's going to be next to someone who has COVID. It's just the way that this is going to work. That's 2 games, so that's a big deal. So I have them at 10-7. Also, Chargers I have as the 6th seed, 10-7. Basically this is the spot that you have the Broncos in. I'm just betting on the fact that I think that Brandon Staley is an elite coach who's going to bring that defense into the 21st century. I think they're going to be really, really good. I like Joey Bosa and Derwin James as kind of the new Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, if you will. He's got the pieces there. I think that even if Herbert doesn't take a big step, I think that he's going to have a better offensive line, and I kind of like what they have on offense. If he takes a big step forward, which is within the realm of possibility, this is a team that can win 11 or 12 games for sure. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think the 10 is definitely reasonable for them. And then number 7, a team that everybody is writing off because their quarterback is 900 years old and is not Tom Brady. I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I am a believer in Matt Canada. I believe in the new offense. I believe that Roethlisberger will be upright and okay for 13 weeks, which may be enough to get them to 8 wins, and then they can patchwork it together from there. I like 10-7 here to get in and sneak in with the 7th seed. Like I said, I don't believe in Indianapolis. I think it's a year early for Mac Jones' train in New England. I also am a little scared about Stephon Gilmore not being there and their cornerbacks getting torched. And I am definitely not a believer in Miami and Tua. That's a whole different issue that I don't need to get into right now. But I'm not buying them. So AFC, I got Buffalo, Kansas City, Cleveland, Tennessee, Baltimore, the Chargers, and the Steelers. So now we get to the fun part. Super Bowl predictions. We get to find out the answer in 6 months, but we can talk about it until then. Dan, who do you got for your Super Bowl?
I got Cleveland and Tampa Bay.
Cleveland? The Browns. The Brownies.
Cleveland. Yeah, I got them going. I think that they're going to shock the world in terms of just their style of play, man. Odell Beckham is coming back. Jarvis Landry is a solid receiver. I think this is really going to be Kevin Stefanski leading them the way. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are a solid duo, probably one of the best duos in the NFL. Couple that with a really strong defense. I think that they're going to be coming out very gritty, very angry. And and a very good chance to upset some really good teams here. Obviously, the seeding is going to matter, but I think that they're going to fall in a place where potentially someone else may knock out that juggernaut of the Chiefs, which would lay a good foundation for them to potentially get in there. So, I mean, hey, Cleveland hasn't won shit in their life. It's been a crazy year. Outside of LeBron and their ridiculous 73-9 upset over that Golden State Warriors team, I'm feeling a little underdog story mojo here. So I'm going to rock with Cleveland, and then they're going to go up against Tampa Bay. However, I think Tampa Bay is the best team in football. They have a really good schedule, which is going to set them up great for a playoff bye. I think they're going to pretty much run through the NFC. They're just too deep on defense, and on offense, it's just even better. Despite Tom Brady's woes in the playoffs and his defense is carrying him, I think it's going to happen again. So here we go. I think it's going to be a back-to-back for Tom Brady and squad. Guy's going to go down as the GOAT, man. Just going to continue to pad stats and collect those rings.
He's going to end up with 8 rings if this happens, which, I mean, that's incredible.
He's approaching that Bill Russell territory of having not enough fingers to support the rings.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's insane. So I have coming out of the NFC, I do not have Tampa Bay. I have Green Bay. I think that I'm fully buying into the Last Dance BS. I don't care. I'm fully in. Aaron Rodgers whole offseason sucked me up in that opening press conference where he just laid out the entire organization like, screw you guys. I'm going to go win a title. It reminds me of way too much. Maybe I'm watching too many documentaries, but it's perfect. It's perfect.
It is very Last Dance-esque for sure.
It is too perfect. Devontae Adams still needs a contract. Who knows if he's going to be there next year? I think that they just throw everything against the wall, and I think that they take out Tampa Bay in the playoffs. On the other side, AFC, I have Buffalo over Kansas City. I just think Kansas City is going to be in a world of hurt this season when it comes to the playoff time. 3 years straight of going to the Super Bowl and then adding up 1.5 or maybe 2 full COVID seasons on top of there. It's just a lot to ask from a team, especially a team that's not really deep. They obviously have the best player in football, and they have a lot of great receivers and weapons offensively. The defense is good enough. They force enough turnovers. At some point, this is going to bite them in the playoffs before you get to the Super Bowl. I think this is a season. I'm fully on the Josh Allen is a superstar train. I think he only shows more this year. We'll see when Brian Daboll isn't there what happens, but I'm a huge Daboll fan. I think that they'll get it done, and I actually like the strength of their defense. Rousseau looks like a monster. If they have a real guy coming off the edge there, yeah, I mean, even if he doesn't show it until mid-year, it's huge for them. And I think that they'll end up taking out Kansas City in the playoffs somewhere along the line, which means my Super Bowl is Green Bay and Buffalo, which is an interesting mix considering the game is in Los Angeles. I'm really praying that I live in LA. If I get a Bills fans in Los Angeles breaking tables, I will join you. Mark that down. I will jump through a table in front of Universal City Walk or something if the Bills are in the Super Bowl here, because I think it would be hilarious and fun. I might have to go to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center afterwards. That's fine. That's fine. I'll deal with it. Unfortunately for Buffalo, you're going to lose to Green Bay because the Packers are going full last dance. They're going to win the Super Bowl this season. Aaron Rodgers takes his second Super Bowl ring for the Packers and moves on to the Denver Broncos in the offseason, and Jordan Love commences his starting role with the Packers.
So you can get your game. So you can get those name the finalists. I believe yours are better odds. I'm seeing Buffalo and Green Bay plus 4,000 versus my Browns and Tampa Bay at plus 3,000. So
wow,
I'm definitely going to sprinkle a little bit on that. I might just add for better odds. I might add the Cleveland Browns and Green Bay for plus 6,000. I'm that bullish on the Browns this season. But, I mean, hey, there's a lot that can happen. It's COVID still around there with another variant out there. So it's going to be an exciting season nonetheless, man. So I'm curious to check back in midway, see how we're doing on our futures. And, hey, maybe we can do a little bit of hedging and throw some more money down and see where we are by midseason, how these are shaping out.
Hedging's my middle name. I'm ready for it. I want to sprinkle some right now on a lot of these, and then when we come to November, we'll have a midseason review of this, and we'll hedge out of all of our positions that might be anywhere halfway decent. So can't wait for that. We will be back on Friday preparing you for week 1. We're going to do 5 games against the spread. We'll talk about some other bets that we like, maybe some over-unders. Until then, stay well. Dan, thank you for joining us, and we will talk to you later.
Enjoy Thursday.